Hello, welcome to MoreBikes.co.uk. This is an in-helmet review of the new Yamaha Tracer 700. This is the bike that Yamaha has developed from the MT-07. Think of it as an upright, versatile, easy, practical, fun little machine. So, let's get to the basics of this bike then. It costs £6,299. It's available in three colours, red, blue or black. It does not have riding modes, traction control or any of the recent gizmos and whiz-bangs you will find amid a whole host of other motorcycles. So this is quite a back to basics bike in that sense. By the way, I should say, if you can hear me breathing louder than usual, it's because on this launch report I'm wearing my shark helmet and the microphone sits a little closer to the mouth than when I'm wearing my Shoei, so that's the reason for that. Apologies if it's a bother, but there's not much I can do about that at the moment, so we'll carry on. Now, this is the world launch of this bike. You can probably see some other riders in front of me. We are out in the Dolomites in Italy, so this is not a bike that Yamaha reckons we should do a lot of motorway miles on. This is all, as you can see, all switchback corners, up and down mountains. So far we are nearly 100 kilometres into it, and so I figured it was about time now to come and tell you my first thoughts on this new Yamaha. Well, it's pretty good actually. It's very solid, very easy to get on with, very fun, very practical. At least it would be if you had the accessories, which include a 24 litre top box and panniers, 12 volt power points, etc, etc, the usual. So I'm liking for bikes of this ilk. The basics, it's the same 73 brake horsepower engine as in the MT-07. The frame is the same as well as in the MT-07. Although there are some geometry changes with the longer swing arm. For the 700 Tracer 700 to be accurate, the bike gets a 50mm longer swing arm than on the MT-07. This is for stability, and on the road the bike does feel nice and stable. It's a delight actually. These roads aren't too bumpy in the Dolomites that we're up and down. But even so, even though they're fairly smooth, we are doing quite hard braking and accelerating out switchbacks, and the whole package is just lovely really to ride. Other changes then for this Tracer 700. Obviously a different riding position to the MT-07. The MT-07 is the naked, sort of pitches you a little bit more forward, a little bit more up for business. The Tracer is more upright, with a fairing, 130mm of travel on the front of the bike, 143 on the back. It has a longer shock, by the way, and a new rear linkage to go with that swing arm, that longer swing arm. So that's all new as well. A lot of travel in the suspension. The suspension doesn't feel particularly hard or soft. It's, not wanting to do a Goldilocks on you really, but it's just about right. We have been riding them quite aggressively, and they are on the launch. They are fitted with the Michelin Road 4s, Pilot Road 4s, and they are a lovely tyre. It's, excuse me if I go a little bit quiet, I'm just trying to think around these bends as well. It's true that some tyres can make bikes feel better than they are, suspension wise, but no, the Yamahas of old, I don't think that's the case here. Good tyres, good bike, good suspension actually. Engine wise, where do you live? Well, from about 2000 it makes a decent rack of power. It doesn't feel quite as punchy as on a basic MT-07. I say basic MT-07, I should say base MT-07. It doesn't feel quite as punchy as on that in second. I don't know why. Could be the extra weight with the fairing on the bike. Could be my imagination. You know, if we put them side by side, which we don't have an opportunity to do here on the launch, but if we put them side by side, might well find that it's exactly the same. But the feeling is not one of quite as much punch. Still coming out at 2,000 RPM out of a tight corner in second gear, fine. It's got plenty of poke to it. It's nice and fun. You can really get on it. Just ride the mid-range. The mid-range is really where you live on this bike an awful lot of the time. Red line, well, it jetters on the red line at about 10.7, that was. And in second gear, 10.7 was up to about 105-6 kilometers an hour. But that's not where you live, like I say. You live from 2,000, 2,500 up to about 8 for these types of roads. Yeah, these types of roads are perfect as well, exactly where the bike should be. It's just fun. Now, interesting facts about the MT, and to try and work out why Yamaha have done this. Since the MT range was launched, Yamaha have sold 95,000 units. That makes it a massive sales success. Since the Tracer 900, so that's the 900 version of this bike based around the MT-09, since that was launched in January 2015, Yamaha have sold 15,000 of those. So it's fairly easy to work out why Yamaha has done this with the MT-07 that made the Tracer 700. They're going clearly after bikes like the Versys, Kawasaki's Versys, Trans Tiger 800, F800 GS, but this is absolutely 100% an on-road motorcycle. Don't make any mistake of thinking that this bike has any pretensions, qualms or ambitions for going off-road. It doesn't. This is a road bike, pure and simple. An upright, comfortable road bike. Some people will put it in the adventure bike tag. It's more a roadster tag, if I'm honest with you. Actually, fun roadster tag might be a better way of putting it, but we'll have the categorisation for another time. Other things to tell you about this, well, the frame is off the MT-07, like I said, but that is lightweight, 16 kilos for the frame. The engine comes in at 53 kilos. That means that the whole bike comes in at a fairly lightweight, well, lightest in the sector, according to Yamaha, 100 and, let me just check, we're 196 kilos wet. So that's 196 kilos wet. I believe, off the top of my head, that's something like 18 kilos lighter than the V-Strom. I could be wrong in that. As I'm riding, I can't double check my facts, it's just working off memory. The bike does feel right, it feels very manoeuvrable, feels like a lot of fun. It's very responsive. Like I say, it's lovely and neutral too, you know, you like the neutrality of it very much. Yeah, very neutral. The gear selection is lovely, slick, exactly what you would expect from Yamaha. Just stop and let slow riders catch us up now. This is what happens on the launch. You just make sure everyone's together before we head off. Here they are. And now we can go. Yes, the feeling of the bike. Well, the riding position is wonderful. I am 5'9" on a good day, and I've got a 28-inch inside leg. And 100 kilometres on these sorts of roads, and I'm perfectly comfortable. The seat is very good. You can get a comfort seat in the raft of aftermarket accessories that Yamaha has already produced for this bike. But after 100 kilometres I don't feel the need for that just yet. The footrests are actually quite a bit higher than you might imagine. But they don't fold your legs up too much. You feel it's an odd combination because you're quite upright in body position, and the bars are nice and wide. The bars are great, about the width of a shoulder, so your arms are comfortable. You're not stretching and you're not reaching up too high, but your legs are sort of tucked up, almost ready to rock, and it feels good. It's perfectly comfortable because you're upright. You know, there's no strain on the back or the shoulders or the neck or anything along those lines, and it's all pucker. It's all very, very good. Can't believe I said pucker. Scratch that from your memories, people. We do not use the word pucker. Picking up, trying to take traffic like that, I didn't go down the gear that time. That was third gear, and it's fine. If you want to get a bit of a lick on though, a bit of pace, then you need to stir the box. Now that's something that all Yamahas, recent Yamahas in my experience, have needed. You've needed to go on and, you know, you got to ride it. They're more riders' machines than people might think, and that's part of the joy of it, the interactivity, if you will. With it, you've got to knock down the gear, give it a fist, and away you go. You know, it'll probably respond and it'll go quite well. Might go really well actually for what it is. This little Tracer 700. Interesting facts about who they're marketing this to. The Tracer 900, according to Yamaha, is mostly going to be bought, or is being bought, by people who are 40 and over. Quite a few of those number are in the 50 plus bracket, whereas this bike, just to give you some idea of how it's going to be marketed, is looking at the 39s and younger, sort of early 30s, mid 30s, 20s, as in high 20s at least. All of that is where the marketing is going to sit. They're definitely aiming this bike at a younger market. All throughout the model presentation to us journalists last night here in Italy, Yamaha was stressing all the way through about fun and versatility and fun and practicality and fun. Fun was the central message of their presentation. And you can see why when you ride it. You know, it's a very responsive, very lightweight, very see, I'm going to use the word myself now, fun bike to get on with. Other things to tell you, well, like I said, it's devoid of any electronics. There's no traction control, there's no rider modes, and that's quite a refreshing thing to get on a bike. It only costs, I say only, but it costs $6,299 on the road. The three colours, the red, blue and black, are all available in your dealer right now. And for a 100 kilometre in-helmet review of this bike, as we pull in for a brake stop now on the road, I've got to tell you, I think the Yamaha Tracer 700 is an absolute cracker, especially on the Michelin Road 4s, the Pilot Road 4s. They are brilliant tyres, and this bike is brilliant, and this is a brilliant setting in the Dolomites. If you're looking for a bike like this, go and get yourself a Tracer 700. If you want someone to ride, come to the Dolomites. But that's it. Thanks for joining us here on MoreBikes.co.uk for our in-helmet review of the Tracer 700. Stay tuned for plenty more.